Welcome to another fine episode of That Was Paramountly Stupid. What you're about to watch, it was paramountly stupid. I'm back to square one-ish. I'm waiting for parts to come from my favorite place, Rock Auto. I got my valve covers done. As you can see, the water pump is off. You see, I was working on installing the water pump, radiator, stuff like that, and I ran into a bit of a problem. I got all of it put together, and yeah, I kind of messed up and quicksanded myself. You see, oh, that hole right there, this one. In that hole is a cooling jacket. In that cooling jacket, there's supposed to be one of those bolt with some thread sealant on it. I got the one installed over here, that one right there. And what happens is you remove the bolts from the timing cover and the water pump, and water starts shooting out of them because, you know, that was the smart thing to do. And do you see this one here with no thread sealant on it? Yeah. That's because I forgot to put that one in that hole. Now, what's the problem with this? Well, let me show you. Because this is just fundamentally stupid. So you saw it where it was all pretty nice, and I had the old water pump sort of installed like that. Well, what you don't see is that hole when you're going through it, and you can't get a bolt in there, and it leaks water all over the place when you go to fill your radiator that you freshly installed. I did that. I'm not proud of it. Not proud of what I done, but I did that. So that made me have to take everything all apart and start over. What's the problem with that? Well, I had to order all my parts for it. Now, I know why you're asking, Pete, why can't you just go to a parts store and order your parts for it? It seems nobody in Jonesboro carries a water pump gasket for a 1974 Dodge 318. It is just horrendous. I was going to call it horrendous, which would have been terrible and horrendous, all in one word. So that's where we're at right now. I do got to give a couple quick shout outs. I got to thank Bart. I told you this was going to be an unboxing video. I got to thank Bart for that. He came through. Remember I told you that I boogered up that hole there and, you know, got it all ganked up? Well, look, all the way from Alberta, Canada. A brand new one. Well, okay, a brand used one that will be perfect. So we'll clean that up with the wire wheel, and we'll get some hardware and boldly go where I wanted to go before, and that'll be the next episode. While I'm in the subject of shout outs, I gotta give a big thanks to Midtown Auto Jonesboro for mounting and balancing my tires. Yes, they look awesome. I mocked one up real quick just to see what it's gonna look like, and oh, who's excited for that look? I know I am. So keep an eye on that. I believe I'm gonna have all four of them ready to go. The rollout video. So, but yeah, they're all set and just raring to go. But when I get the brakes on, stuff like that, you know, button up a few other small things that got to be buttoned up, we're gonna be good to go. So thanks for watching. Thanks for checking this one out. Oh, this is gonna be like my professional unboxing. I've never done an unboxing before. I'm kind of excited. Let's see what we got. You know, they say you made it when you officially do an unboxing video. So once again, Rock Auto has come through with just some awesome badness. So this is what we got. Let me bring you all up to speed. What do we have here? What are we not seeing, Ted? No radiators! There's no radiators, Ted! Fast and the Furious, come on. Really? Back to my unboxing. So, let me just pull up a chair and tell you where the problem lies. So, I bought that radiator to Gibson's Radiator. And, lo and behold, that the brass on it was just too degraded that they couldn't use it. It was unsalvageable. You know, the cores were bad in it, and he said he was moving fins in it, and every time he'd move the fins to fix one leak, another leak would take place. So it was no good. I really want to put what's in the box into that. That's the plans for this episode, is to put what's in the box in that and have the belts all done, and we're gonna fire Betty off again one more time with freshness. So, Brad Pitt.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Oh, it's so shiny. The fine folks at Lyle & Global had this aluminum beauty on a budget, and I ate my favorite words in the history of truck builds. On a budget. I'm balling on a budget. Lyle got this 3-core aluminum, all aluminum radiator with all the original setup and everything else on the front end. Don't lean that against me. Don't lean that. Stop hitting the truck. I got my plug there for my heater hoses. Why did I just sound Canadian? My heater hoses and my 2 fittings down here for my transmission cooler, my filler necks, and it's light. I'm having an issue with it, but I absolutely love it. And my issue is do I discuss it or not? Big shout out to Gibson Radiator on Huntington here in Jonesboro for just really trying to persevere through a just radiator that was just not having any bit of what you were trying to do. I was a little concerned because it had empty packages and no fittings in the packages. Dorman makes these. Yeah, I decided to use some part numbers. 785-412D from Dorman. These little nipple things. And then this other part one, my little plug. Well, it's a plug for now until I get the heater system fixed. I'm not worried about the heat in the truck until, you know, we get closer to time. But 785-072D is the plug for the heater portion in the radiator, and when I finally get that heater valve fixed and my heater controls took care of, which really can wait till September. So what I'm going to do right now is grab my Permatex thread sealant, goop up my threads a little bit, plug it on in, boom, and then put the radiator in there, Ted, because there's no radiator. Fast and the Furious, come on, really? I gotta explain this to you folks? I shouldn't have to. Okay, maybe the old hot rod geezers, yes, Fast and Furious. The younger generation who's still trying to figure out what the hell that is, you knew what it was. Let's do some installation. Here's my problem. I have ADD. Is that New World Man? That may be New World Man by Rush. You may ask yourself, how did I get here? That is not New World Man. Kind of a little disappointed in myself. Ah, nipples. And you may ask yourself, why is he bothering with this radiator now when he's got belts and hoses to install? Well, here's the answer. I'd like to make sure my Permatex is set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my thread sealing going on, tighten all my fittings, and while it's sitting, boom, then I'm going to put all of my hoses and stuff on. So I got my 7/16 line wrench and my 7/16 box wrench. We're going to do some 7/16. We're going to do some installation. If you folks could see some of the blooper and gag reel, someday I may actually put something together one day. We're going to cut the tip before we try applying it because, you know, having a tip on is counterproductive.
Just the tip.
Thank you, Archer. Uh-oh. Oh, like the way, am I supposed to shake this stuff up first? Because the other stuff came out a lot more clean. Like toothpaste. Yeah, that's what it was. Spread that stuff around. Get her started. We're on the second one. I have an awesome Eddie Van Halen on air guitar. So we are gooped. Give me a second. Hear you all yelling about how I jacked it up already. My pretty brass pieces. I had to. So, while I'm installing these, I did read on the internet how to distress this. Apparently, the toilet bleach cleaner and some salt, and you wrap it in some saran wrap, and it'll get that copperish, well, almost that color blue corrosion to it. So, I've been kicking around the idea of doing that with this. But then part of me would realize, or does realize, that if I'm going to tarnish the outside, I am degrading the metal, which therefore is decreasing the lifespan of the radiator, which would totally go against the purpose of purchasing a new radiator. So I don't know what I want to do yet. I've looked at painting, and I know they make aluminum paint, but my thought about that is I'm worried about heat dissipation, and I don't know. I don't want to experiment. I don't want this to be an experimental thing, you know, trials, and the internet is just so full of some information, and some of it, a lot of it, is misinformation, you know, and you don't know what to trust, and you don't know what not to trust. So I've seen people say, no, you don't have to really worry about that much heat dissipation. And I've seen other people go, oh yeah, it'll, you know, increase temps by 10, 15 degrees, which, you know, it's an old truck. I really don't want it to, you know, an 88,000 engine to expire any kind of head gaskets and go through more work than I have to just for the sake of aesthetics. Double word score. All right, I believe my fittings are tightened up. Now we're going to go to the engine compartment, throw some shiny new belts on, put the hoses back together. This will be sealed by the time that's ready to go. We'll get some coolant in it and hopefully have it fired and, you know, call it good. Let's see, where am I going to start first? I should probably get my belts. So I may have had an error in judgment, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I actually did something accidentally right. I did something accidentally right. Okay, I thought I screwed up and ordered the wrong one, but I actually ended up ordering the right one. And somehow this Napa Premium XL part number matches this Gates number. And I used to remember how to interpret that, and just from time I've forgotten how to interpret that, probably because I haven't had to interpret that in quite some time. So I'm gonna throw this sucker on there. I really gotta get that coil situation fixed.
Okay.
No, I can't do that because I think that alternator / fan belt has to go on first. Yes, indeed it does. So let's take that belt back off. If you're asking me if I've forgotten how to put my belts on, I'd be lying if I didn't say yes. Yes, I did. It's been a minute since I took this apart. Belt of the fan. So we're going to put that on there. That's going to go over the alternator, and that's going to go there when I get my pulley on. Sounds good in theory. It's so exciting when I do things like this. Uh-oh. Oh no, it's not on there all the way. So we got our spacer, goes in that hole, and it is started. Oh. Sometimes surprise myself. These little lock washers so nothing backs out. Get my little fan, my little nub there, get my little bolt, my little hole there. The reason I'm not putting them all the way in is because that's a grave mistake that a lot of people make, is turning them as far as they'll go and then tightening them down. No, what you need to do is you need to start them just a little bit and then let the torque do the rest of the work. I'm not going to rush it, but I want to get it done before it gets too late, because I got new neighbors. They only know me for a week, and I don't want them to be all, my gosh, this guy has this derelict truck, and it's our first week in the neighborhood, and this is all we're going to hear. Tighten our little bolts here. So I like to use a wooden stick to do this job, tightening up that. And the reason I like to use it, A, you don't put too much tension on the belt. B, if you're feeling incredibly Herculean, if you use a pry bar on it, there's a chance you can snap the alternator or, you know, crack something you don't mean to crack by just giving a little bit too much force. So this wooden stick has just enough give to it, you know, the spring to it and everything else. It has just enough weight to it to tighten her up and do the job. So we're going to tighten her up. I've got just enough flex in that fan belt. And what you want to do is when you put this belt, when you put your new belts on, or something this old, boys and girls, you want to make sure you have good alignment on your belts. You want to make sure your belt alignment is good, because you don't want it to skip off your pulleys. So now that we got that done, fan, alternator, crank, 9/16 wrench here. We're going to tighten this one manually, space permitting. It's one of these cool offset wrenches, and I like them just for things like this. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to tighten this up because it fits behind this belt so easily. Got to give Mopar engineers a C-. I'm putting this belt right behind or right in front of the bolt. So yes, I've been impressed with everything else except that. But there we go. Perfect tension on my belt. We are good to go. This one, this power steering, is going to be a little bit different. There's a half inch ratchet square head in there. Well, I say it is. It is. Again, not wearing my glasses. And you notice how I pulled that way? Well, this one works a little differently. This one, you actually have to pull it this way. Go counterclockwise with it, and it will actually raise the power steering pump up, put tension on the belt, and we'll go there again. We'll tighten that one down. Again, you're going to line them up, get it on there, check for proper alignment. Now this one's a little different. This one, your pulleys look off. Excuse me, your pulleys look off while it's loose. It looks like the belt's a little tilted. I know you can't really tell that because the camera's there and the belt is here. But it looks like it's a little off. But when I was making sure all my brackets were right and everything else, and I tightened it up, the pulley's perfectly aligned. So it may look a little off now, but when I tighten this bolt up here and that one there, that bracket is going to kind of pull it straight, and it's going to align those pulleys.
Will he get his radiator installed? Will he get his hoses on? Will this idiot remember to charge his phone so you don't have to read a text screen again? No, and probably not.
Just the tip! How was I supposed to know you're lactose intolerant?